we're back on the Big Sports Lowdown. Holy smokes, what a guest in studio today. 3-time Pro Bowler, Seahawks extraordinaire, quarterback. I'm telling you, it doesn't get much better than this, and I don't think it's gonna. So, let me introduce you to former Seahawks starting quarterback, Dave Krieg. Dave, thanks for taking the time coming in the studio today. Holy smokes.
Lo, it's not that big a deal.
It is that big a deal. I mean, do you know who you are?
I'm from Wausau, Wisconsin. My high school friends would think you're crazy because they don't think I'm that big a deal.
I was arguing with a dude the other day. I mean, he says, well, Milton College is closed down now. They're not even a college anymore. It's like, so what? They produced one of the best quarterbacks to ever play for the Hawks.
Or you could have said to him, you know, look at how far he came. He didn't go to a big college. He went to a small college and still overcame all those odds. That's
exactly.
The other way to look
See,
at it.
That's what I'm talking about. So say, Sean, there. God.
Anybody can make it from a big college. Try making it from Milton College. That's what I say.
Hey, speaking of Milton, check this out. I got a big gig coming up. They actually called me and said, do you want to be the Grand Marshal of the Milton Days Parade out in Milton, just south of Federal Way?
That Milton, yes. I'm very familiar with this Milton, too.
I'm excited about
it's different
that.
Than my Milton.
Come on,
yes.
I'm moving up to the big time now.
That is big time.
I'm going to be a Grand Marshal.
Grand Marshal's huge.
In a city of, what, 353?
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm sure they'll all be there watching.
My own city of Berrien, they've never even contacted me yet. It's like, but hey, Berrien,
moving up. One step at a time. One step at a time.
Torchlight Parade soon? Have they ever asked you to be the Grand Marshal?
At UW River Falls, when I was with the Chiefs, when we did training camp up there, they had all the fire trucks and all that stuff. And then Carl Peterson and Marty Schottenheimer said, well, seeing as you're from Wisconsin, you're going to sit on the lead fire truck. And it was embarrassing as heck, but I did it anyway.
Nice. Let's talk football. I guess, you know, we'll talk about modern days football and we'll work our way back. You were a 3-time Pro Bowler. What do you think about the game today? The Pro Bowl game just kind of has lost its luster. It seems like guys don't even want to play anymore. Back in the days, seems like you guys were so competitive because you wanted that extra money or you wanted that extra bonus or you guys wanted that extra FaceTime.
Well, we needed that extra money. They make a lot more now than we did back then. And it's funny you say that. I got in the fourth quarter of one game, my first Pro Bowl, and Mike Munchak and all the rest of the linemen in there because they got to actually play for real, the linemen. I mean, there's no shortcuts when you're playing offensive and defensive line. And I got in a huddle, and we had like 2 minutes to go, and I was in there, I was just competing like heck, just like I normally do, because I only know one way, and threw a touchdown pass to Brian Blades. And then we went, it got called incomplete because they put an offensive lineman in for the third down play, and we did this on fourth down. I completed an 8-yard touchdown pass. Fourth down, well, that guy stayed in the game and didn't report again.
Right.
So the officials called it way too technical, and I had a chance to be the MVP of a Pro Bowl, but this official called it like by the book. Not like the Yankees umpire that let the guy not catch the ball.
No hitter.
Yeah. Man.
Oh my God, that's something else. So in today's game, it seems like there's a flag on almost every play. How does that differ from when you played the game?
Oh my gosh, huge. I mean, just like you said about the Pro Bowl, nowadays they don't. It's like a Arena Football League was the way they played in a Pro Bowl, and Roger Goodell's got on them about that, and I think they're going to be more competitive. I don't know how they're going to make it more competitive. But we'll see. But as far as flags being thrown this now, I think referees sometimes take it upon themselves to want to either get FaceTime or something like that.
Manipulate the game a little bit.
See the interview on a replay and want to stand there for a minute and a half or two.
Pull a little NBA Dunahee.
But there's a lot more rules nowadays to protect the quarterback.
Right.
Mostly the quarterback and, of course, other players and chop blocks and all those other things. There's other players that get protected, but none is more protected than the quarterback. I mean, when I used to play, they could take 2 or 3 steps after you threw the ball and hit you. It was a lot different. You could ask Howie Long and Piquel and Dan Salamu and all Neil Smith, Derek Thomas. Believe me, they've hit me. Sometimes they've hit you after the whistle and they still never got flagged. Wow. So it's a lot different.
That's crazy. So since the 80s, the Seahawks uniforms have changed like tons. Well, what do you think about the latest uniform change?
Well, I look at that fan. I think that's the color, lime green, electricity or whatever they call it. I think that's overdoing it. I think that's too much. That's maybe what the Sounders could do. But when you're playing football, I kind of like the old school uniforms that we used to have.
Right.
And I'm not sure about the gloves and the shoes that are all bright. I mean, they glow in the dark. You won't even need lights to see them.
I'm laughing at some of these guys because it's like Cam Chancellor. He's just sprung on them. Earl Thomas just loves them. You know, the gloves, I think the gloves is kind of a cool touch. You know, you put your hands together and it forms the Seahawks logo. But it's like, it seems like it dismembers the Seahawks logo.
It's just you're asking for over attention. It's just, I mean, how much you got Twitter, you got Facebook. I mean, you get plenty of attention.
I think they get plenty of attention.
Like Chuck Knox always said, they'll recognize who you are if you make a big play, even if you don't have the name on the back of your jersey.
Right.
They'll know who you are if you make enough good plays.
So, how did your relationship with Steve Largent translate off the field? I mean, obviously on the field it was amazing. So,
two different people. I think he wanted me to be more like him. I didn't care if he was more like me, but he wanted me to be more like him. You know, he had his religious beliefs and everything, and I would sometimes come into huddle and smell like I didn't have religious beliefs.
So you were a heathen somewhat?
I wouldn't say I was a heathen. I was borderline, just trying to be a little bit of everything for everybody, because in our locker room, you know, you have all different types of people.
Right.
And I always thought it's best if we all get along and get together as a team, and that's what I tried to do as a quarterback. Offense, defense. I didn't want anything segregated in any such way. I wanted us to be together as a team and focus on one goal, which is winning. I don't care what your beliefs are. I don't care what color you are or anything like that. Sports brings everybody together.
Amen for that. I mean, you know, in the stands, we're high-fiving complete strangers, hugging complete strangers.
Exactly. Sports is about the best way to do it. Politics can't do it.
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing else that can do it like sports in a locker room.
Although I
gets
have
along.
had some serious battles on Facebook and Twitter about different scenarios, such as this year's quarterback controversy. If you were the Seahawks GM in this day and age, who would be your starter with the three that we've got right now? Well, with the four, because Josh Portis is in there and everybody's leaving this kid out. So
everybody asks me that question. It's hard for me to judge because I don't get to see him on a even if I saw him for 2 weeks, I could probably tell you, or a week maybe. I like Russell Wilson because he's from Wisconsin. That's where I'm from. They say he's too short. I disagree with that. I think being tall has its advantages, and so does being short has its advantages.
Right.
He's quick. He can run. He's very intelligent. He came from North Carolina State, and within about a month and a half, learned the offense. Was elected captain. I mean, come on. And so that's pretty awesome. Matt Flynn learned from one of the best offensive coordinators, offensive guys in the league, which is Mike McCarthy.
Oh, yeah.
And then, I think the coach that went down to Miami, Philburn, I believe is his name. I can't remember. Phil, whatever. And he is also very smart. But Mike McCarthy is one of the smartest offensive guys I ran into. I've known him since '92. Mike is a good friend of mine. And Matt learned a lot from him and Aaron Rodgers. And then, of course, you got Tavarius, which is he has all the experience. So he's got that going for him.
It's going to be an interesting season. So what was your most memorable season and maybe play of your career?
Wow,
it's a tough one,
there's a bunch of them. The first most memorable play or game would be the first start I had. I went out in pregame warmups. I still didn't even know I was starting, and the reason I did that because I was from Milton. I wasn't used to anything, and so they didn't want to tell me. I would be scared all week. So they told me after we came in from pregame warmups, Jerry Rome said, "You know you're starting, don't you?" And I was playing against the New York Jets, a sack exchange. You know, they had Klecko and all these other guys. Gastineau, right.
Oh, my God.
And that was a sack exchange. We ended up winning the game. First time I ever started. I don't even know what I was doing. I just played. And so that's one memory. Of course, beating the Chiefs in Kansas City with no time left and Paul Scanzi catching a pass.
Right.
And the ball's going in the air and it's 4-3, 2-1, 0. It's like a movie. And beating Miami down in Miami was good. The '86 season when we were like 5-6, I got benched and everything, came back. We went 10-6. That was the best team we had those last 5 or 6 games. And we didn't make the playoffs at 10-6. That's a shame because we had a chance. And then playing in the championship game, the only reason I remember that is because I played so bad, we lost, and we were that close to going to the Super Bowl. And you don't get that chance very often. In 19 years, I never did it. That kind of sucks.
You know, playing with Steve Largent's one thing. But a guy like Paul Scanzi, I mean, this was one of my favorite players back in the days because that guy would cut across the field, you'd hit him on a dime, and he'd get drilled and just get back up.
Well, Paul wouldn't say I always hit him on a dime. Sometimes it was like a penny. He'd be diving all over the place, get just knocked crazy, go to the sideline, wait for the next third down, come out and play. And he was one of my favorites too. You know, all the guys that were free agents that played with us. Even on defense, I always, you know, we had a little common bond together. But Scans didn't get all the credit he deserved because of Steve Largent overshadowed everything. But Paul Scanzi was one of my favorite players, and I'm glad he is the one that caught that pass against Kansas City because Steve gets a lot of credit for everything, and he doesn't need anymore. Paul Scanzi got it. He's a Washington native, played for the Huskies and everything. I'm very, very proud of him. I have a lot of respect, a lot of admiration for Paul Scanzi.
He's an amazing man. So did you feel at that time that the Seahawks were kind of underhyped and off the media radar as they seem to be today?
Well, when I first got here, we were underhyped, but we were exciting because of our special teams. You know, we always do something funny with Efren Herrera, and Rusty
man.
Tillman would always have some
boy.
kind of special
That's
teams
right,
thing.
yeah.
And so we were known for that, and that's not really what you want to be known for. But if you're not good enough, that's what happens. They had a couple 9-7 seasons, then it got bad, and then when Chuck came here, then we turned into something that Chuck knew how to win,
right.
And he knew what it took to win, and he made us believe that we could win, which was very important. He brought in some veterans like Reggie McKenzie and Kellen Bryan and Charlie Joyner. Franco Harris actually played here too.
Oh
for a
yeah,
year.
I remember Franco.
So you bring in guys
there.
like that have won Super Bowls. That gets contagious, and even if you don't know it, you believe that you can, even if you're not sure if you can. You just believe it.
There were so many good times back in the days. I mean, just the different songs that they came up with. They'd like mangle different songs and turn them into Seahawk songs. Do you remember the Shaka Khan and Chucka Knox?
A little bit. I mean, that stuff. That
Craig
stuff
goes
sort
back
of.
to pass. He hits Largent in the end zone.
Oh, I thought it had something to do with pass.
Oh
and
no,
something
they had
else.
all
Some other
kinds
word
of good
was gonna
stuff,
come out.
man. It
Okay,
was
all right.
awesome, man. Those were good days. I mean,
I would sometimes listen to that, but not too often. I had a lot more to think about. I had to learn the plays and remember everything, and that was coming from Milton. I had a lot of studying.
oh
to do.
yeah, I can imagine. What was it like going from small town life to big city living?
Unbelievable. I never got interviewed like this in college for 4 years. Never got interviewed by
Wow.
TV people. I never flew on a plane until I came out here. I did get interviewed by a couple newspapers. That's about it. So, and then coming here, we had 300 or 400 people watching our games.
Right.
And we played in a high school field. We didn't even play in a
no
college
way, really?
stadium. Yeah.
Oh my God, I
We
never
played
knew
at
that.
Milton High School's field. So when I came to the Kingdom and went out there for the first preseason game, I was like, I went over for pregame warm-ups, and there were not very many people in the stands. Went back in the locker room, come back out, it's 65,000, whatever it holds, full. I got out to about the end zone, and I got hyperventilated, I had claustrophobia. I was like, I'm looking around, oh my gosh. And then the other scary part is when you're a rookie, you play in the fourth quarter.
Right.
So for 3 quarters, you have to watch these guys hit each other viciously, and you know you're going to go out there and get the same thing.
I don't want to play.
I'm like, I'm going to the locker room, I got to come back out. I got to play now. I got to play. These guys are big. They're faster than Milton. This is a lot
man.
different. So it was a lot to learn. It was a very big adjustment.
That is incredible. So nowadays you're doing motivational speaking. How did you fall into this, and what kind of things do you talk about?
The reason I fell into motivational speaking is because somebody told me, you have a great story and it should be told. I grew up a little bit on a dairy farm. That's where my dad grew up, so I always helped there during the summer, and that's where I learned my work ethic. Baling hay, picking rocks. Who the heck picks rocks? What's the sense? And baling hay, shoveling manure. I've done all that kind of stuff. I worked in a paper mill, so my dad taught me a good work ethic. And then going to Milton College, I was the only school that really wanted me because I wasn't even all conference in high school.
Wow.
And I went down to Milton. I got a chance to play football and baseball, so I played 2 sports in college. And so my story is pretty unique. I mean, it doesn't happen very often that you get
Very
to.
true.
I went to Milton. I was a 7-string quarterback. We only had 50 guys on the team. And then I started after the 4th game,
Right.
so I quickly got up there. And then I come out to Seattle, never flew on a plane, go to mini camp, go to training camp, and within a year or 2, I'm starting quarterback. It happened so quickly, so I had to act like I knew what I was doing, even though I didn't know what I was doing.
So you say you were 7th string. Did guys get hurt in front of you, or did you just show yourself?
One guy got hurt, Steve Meyer, which was very important. He lives down by Phoenix, but I mean, he always says that I owe him some money because
Steve Meyer, former NFL quarterback?
Yes.
Wow.
Steve Meyer was a really good quarterback. He probably was even better than Jim Zorn, but
Wow.
that's to be argued. But anyway, there was 3 rookie quarterbacks ahead of me, one from North Carolina, one from Long Beach State, one from Oklahoma, somewhere southwest Oklahoma. And they didn't like the idea of getting criticized and critiqued and yelled at because
Right.
they'd probably been coddled there all since 8th grade. I never was. And so I didn't mind getting yelled at, just like my dad. And then we had an intra-squad game, and Steve Meyer got hurt in his neck, and it ended his career. So now all they had left was me to be the 3rd-string quarterback. And so that's how I just made the team just through attrition.
That's something else. So a lot of people have asked me that, the last week, because I've been talking about this interview, and people are saying, does he have kids? What are they up to? And do they have interest in following in your footsteps?
Well, I got a little girl that probably wouldn't have interest in following.
LFL, Lingerie Football League. Come on, Dave.
Actually, she could do that. She's got a little bit of tomboy, and her 2 older brothers, they treat her like a boy sometimes, so they don't let her be all girl and prissy and everything like that. And then my 2 boys, they play hockey.
Right.
I don't know how to skate.
Oh,
so
man.
when they were just got done with Little League, which was a very boring sport to them compared to hockey, they started to play hockey at the same time. They had a passion for it like I had for football.
Right.
And hockey is a very addictive type sport because you're on the bench, you're out, a lot of action. It's always action.
Oh, yeah.
And they love that. And
Lot of
so
hitting.
I watched them play. I even gave up a broadcasting career so I wouldn't miss my kids play sports because they
That's
were
awesome.
traveling all across the United States playing hockey. They were good, but I don't know if they'll make it NHL. Well, the one won't. He's done playing, but the other one is going to University of St. Thomas in Minneapolis, and he's got 3 more years to play.
Right on. Wow. So what do you enjoy doing in your free time?
Practicing broadcasting. If I get one chance, one opportunity like I got here, I would like to either be as an analyst analyzing all the games, because I
Right.
could watch 8 or 10 TVs and watch a lot of games
yeah.
and understand what's going on. And I think I'd have the ability to talk to the novice fan as well as the expert fan and say it in the same concise manner and get something across
To teach people.
To teach people
Yeah.
and to help them understand the game better and understand why and how everything happened and do it in a matter of seconds.
That's amazing. Well, hey, I might be looking for a sidekick here.
Everybody is looking for something like that.
So here's one kind of off the wall. What did you think of Joe Namath's white cleats growing up?
It was better than the electricity yellow, lime green, whatever you want to call it. I like the white cleats. And then he wore the mink thing, mink jacket.
Oh, yeah.
He had pantyhose. So Joel had a lot of things going on. He was a character before. He came up with one of my favorite sayings. He goes, I read his book. His book was titled, "I Can't Wait Till Tomorrow Because I Get Better Looking Each Day." That was the title of his book. And in his book, it said, one of the things that I remember was, "I may not know what I'm doing, but I'm not going to let the rest of the guys in the huddle know that I don't know what I'm doing." So it's fake it till you make it. Fake it till you make it.
That's a very good adage.
I liked his white shoes anyway.
Oh, man. So I put it out on Facebook, asked people, if you had the chance to ask Dave Krieg anything you wanted to ask him, what would you ask him? So Sean Pellis, he says, who was your favorite receiver to throw to with the Hawks? Is this a duh?
No, it's a tough call because Steve Largent obviously would be the first one that would come to mind because he could catch everything and was well known. But Paul, like we said, Paul Scansey was the other one. I would say they're like 1 and 1A.
Nice. I like that. Eric Peterson says,
oh, wait a minute.
Oh.
We got to remember Daryl Turner, too.
hey, DT, I love that guy.
I mean, that guy made me look good
yeah.
a bunch of times. I could just throw the ball up and he could make catches. I know we had Jeff Chadwick and we had
Brian Blades.
Ray Butler. Brian Blades was good. Yes, those are good names. Brian Blades is a good one, too. Yeah. Now that you bring up all those names, I remember Ray Butler. I mean, I had some good receivers, but gosh, nobody did things like Paul Scansey did, and he came from the middle of nowhere out of Gig Harbor. And like I said, I have a lot of respect for him.
He's a great guy. Eric Peterson says, when are we going to see you coaching somewhere?
I've been asked that too. The reason I don't want to coach is the same reason I didn't get into broadcasting. I want to get away from my kids and I wanted to watch them play during the weekends. I didn't want to be off in Atlanta or Dallas or someplace else where my kids are playing hockey. And the coaching aspect, they coach, their hours are too long. I played 19 years, I put a lot of hours in, and the coaches put in even longer hours. They'll be there at like 6 in the morning and maybe not leave till 9 or 10 o'clock at night. And I think that's ridiculous. If I was a head coach, I would have the players and the coaches come in, coaches come in about 8, players come in about 9, and we'd be out of there by 4 or 5 o'clock and maybe be on the first tee by 5:30 or 6. Because there's only so much, it's just football.
Yep.
I mean, everybody got the same plays. You overstudy it, overanalyze it so much that you come up with more stuff than you need. Just do the basic things right, and you'll win all the time. It's either going to be, there's only 2 things you can do. You can run to play, or you're going to pass.
Right.
And if you're on defense, you got to defend a run or defend a pass. And how are you going to do it? I know there's other strategies involved. When you're going to blitz, when you're going to dog, and all that. But I would make the game simpler and easier to understand, and so we can learn it quicker, and then you could go enjoy yourself and stay out of trouble too, of course. I don't want to give.
That's easy.
That's
to do
probably
for
why
some
they keep them
people.
there. They wanted to keep them there because they don't. The longer they keep them, they figure the less trouble they get into.
Exactly.
I can understand that.
Oh, that's funny. So Steve Bradshaw, he wants to know, what was your favorite moment of the '84 season?
Well, that's the year that we lost Kurt Warner in the first game of the season.
Right.
So the favorite moment was when Chuck called me in his office and says, look, we lost Kurt. We're going to have to depend and rely on you. We're going to throw the ball a lot more. So that was cool to hear. And then my favorite moment was also Eric Lane coming to play running back, Dan Dornick filling in, David Hughes. Our offensive line picked up their game. Our defense played unbelievable. I mean, I think Kenny Easley was MVP, Defensive Player of the Year. We had John Harris, Dave Brown. I can go on, Keith Butler. We go on and on. That our defense played so well, and our whole team, special teams. So the whole team played well when we lost Kurt. Everybody had to pick up their game because we lost such a great player.
Right.
Kurt Warner was one of the best players
boy.
I ever played with, and we lost him the first game of the season. The only thing that was bad was that we lost to the Dolphins after the '84 season. We beat them after the '83 season.
Right.
But then we went down to Marino, had another year of experience, but we still could have beat them again. We were 12-4 that year. We were 12-2 going into the last 2 games, and we lost the last 2 games.
And he didn't take advantage of it and win a Super Bowl. Dang it!
No, he never did. He got to 1, though. At least he got to 1. But we could have been 14-2. I mean, we just lost a little bit at the end.
Some good days. Some good days. So Jesse Severson wants to know the most intimidating defensive player you ever played against.
There's a bunch of them.
Come on, Derek Thomas. Come on, Derek Thomas.
Well, he would obviously be in there, but he wasn't intimidating because he was just so good, and he'd help you up, and he'd say funny things. So it wasn't really intimidating. I knew I was going to get hit by him.
God, he was
There
one
was
of
no
my
doubt
faves.
about it. And when he
Amazing man.
blindsided, Lawrence Taylor was another big one. Anybody on the defensive line of the Raiders, they were all big. I mean, their earlobes were big. They were huge guys. Piquel and
It's
Howie
all
Long,
in the earlobes.
Reggie Townsend, and all those guys. And they played. They took the rules just a little bit further than they're supposed to.
Right.
So they tried to be intimidating, and they were successul at it for a while.
They were a very hated team back in the days. I mean, even nowadays, there's a
No,
lot.
I still don't like a Raider. If I saw
Really?
Jim Plunkett or Mike Davis, I wouldn't like him out of principle.
So if we were hanging out and we saw him, you'd say, "Low, knock him out."
I wouldn't say knock him out. I would
Damn
just
it.
not be so nice to him and everything. And they know that, But I'm friends with them. But they know
Yeah.
that there's not a very good relationship between a Raider and a Seahawk.
Okay. Mari Headley, she wants to know. Well, she says, ask him his opinion about the new rules the NFL has demanded and if he thinks the future is going to be flag football.
Right. I agree with her. I think it's going along the lines of arena football almost,
Right.
They protect the quarterback so much. They allow the receivers to do whatever they want. Defensive backs can't hold them up. There's certain blocks that you can and can't do as an offensive lineman. It's just become almost like a arena football, flag football league. It's now it's all about throwing. It used to be
Right.
you run to set up the pass. Now you pass to set up the run, and you don't see very many teams with great running backs. Arian Foster, Forte, there's guys like that, but not many. They're far and few between.
That's crazy. So then there's Robert Scordahl. He wants to know if you ever went to Long Beach, Washington and played donkey basketball.
No.
Okay, so that's a myth? Completely myth?
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I don't think I did.
I was wondering.
I would remember if I was.
What's
on a-
up with this?
I would
donkey
remember. I
basketball?
would hope. Maybe I was. There could have been a reason why I don't
Concussed
remember.
at the time?
No, not necessarily. Probably was at some other place right before I got on that donkey.
There we go.
Liquid courage to help get on the donkey and play basketball. But I would think I would remember that one.
Yeah,
I don't
definitely.
know.
Oh, man. Dave, there's so many memories. We could take up a whole bunch of your time. We really appreciate you coming in, spending a little time with us for the show.
Lo, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.